Okay, welcome back to our 7th and 8th. So this is covering the last 2 points of our rubric, this presentation. So this will associate with both the lessons for Wednesday and Thursday this week, and that is converting between mixed number and improper fractions. So in this lesson, we're going to be revisiting the rubric, and that's this video. This is the last two sections of the rubric, and they don't really relate to anything specific in terms of fraction. They are more about the way in which you represent your mathematical thinking. So then we're going to go on and look at how we convert between mixed number and improper fractions. There'll be a video for that, and then we'll be representing fractions and showing your working. Yeah, so we're part of this is actually demonstrating those two aspects of the rubric as well. So let's go on and revisit this rubric. So we're talking about these two sections down the bottom here. That is the visual representation, the way we actually represent our fractions, and then how we show our working out. Now that's across all mathematical disciplines, but in terms of fractions, it's to do with the way you show your working out when you're converting between mixed number and improper fractions. So anyway, moving on. So first part of our rubric there is the diagram and visual representation. So the first star is the diagram I have used to describe my fraction is difficult to understand or incomplete. So what would that look like? Let's say I was trying to represent the fraction, let's say we're representing the fraction 1/4. Yeah, and your diagram looks a bit like this, and you've shaded in, let's use a different color pen. You've shaded in this section. Oh, where'd my mouse go? Oh, there it is way over there. You've shaded in this section here, and you've decided to call that 1/4. I'm just going to go and use the eraser to get rid of that bit over there. Yep. So next one along, that is where we're saying that I can display my fraction as a picture, but it is not very neat or clear. Yeah, so this might look similar to the first one, but probably a bit neater. Yeah, so we might have drawn a proper, almost a proper circle, and actually had a good attempt at dividing into quarters, and then drawn, shaded that bit in there, and that's just a bit clearer that you're representing 1/4. Next one might be this sort of representation. Let's stick with the circle option. So you've come in and you've gone like this, and it's like a perfect circle. You've actually used like a compass or traced around an object or something like that. And you have then sort of come in and, oh, that's an interesting tool. You've then come in and chosen this tool. Why isn't it letting me? There, that's better. Drawn that like that. Oop, I'm going to pause it there. Yeah, so this is effectively the end result, yeah, of what would look pretty awesome, yeah, and you've clearly represented your fraction. So 4 stars would be, I can display multiple fractions in picture form clearly with labels, yeah, so that's where you might actually represent your fraction a bit like that. Yeah. Very similar to the last one. However, you have literally gone in and said 1/4, and you've actually labelled it. Yeah, so you've labelled it 1/4. And you might even go to the extent of labelling this one over here with 3/4, because the green represents 3/4 and that represents 1/4, like so. Yeah, so the whole is 4/4. And you have done that a number of times. Now, whether you use circles or whether you use, like number strips, yeah, you could use that as well. That could be representing your quarter. Yeah. Or you could use a number line. That's another way of representing your fraction visually. So you end up with really clear explanations and diagrams around your fraction. So anyway, let's go on to our next slide. So that is where we're saying working out. So working out, I have not clearly set out my mathematical thinking. So that's where you might go, there's my quarter, like I said before, you've shaded that in there like that, and you haven't necessarily shown what you were thinking, yeah? And you might write 1/4 is the answer to whatever calculation you're doing, but you're not actually explaining what you've done. Next one is my working out can be followed, but it is unclear. So this is where you might go, here is this and another one, and you've done this and you've done this, and you've said 3/4 plus 1 equals, and then over here you've written 4/4, like that, yeah? And it's not really well set out, and it's not clearly demonstrating that you actually understand what you're doing. Next bit, my calculation and working out are shown clearly. So this is where you might go like this. Yep. Diagram's a little bit neater. You're taking your time, and you're actually representing your 3/4. Sorry, this is a bit hard to do on Seesaw. You'd be doing this in your book and it would be much better. And now you've shaded that one in, and we're saying 3/4 plus 1/4 equals 4/4. Yep. So you've actually clearly demonstrated your thinking there. You might also use something like this. Yep, so there's my 3/4. And you're now saying 3/4. Plus 3/4 plus 3/4. Equals quarters, 6 quarters, and there's our 6 quarters there. Yep, so we've got, there's our 6 quarters. So you've got 1 whole and 2 quarters, and you might even go E, which is the same as, so equivalent to 1 and 2 quarters, which is also the same 1 and 1 half. Yep. So that's the sort of stuff that we would be looking for stars. So yeah, now we're going to go and learn a little bit about converting between mixed number fractions and improper fractions, just like I've done there in that last section. And then you'll have a practice at that, hopefully using the same process that I have just shown there. So thanks, guys.